What's up, gamers? Welcome to, or welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll be discussing whether Chiori is worth your pull in 5.1. So, if you enjoy content like this, like to let me know so I know to continue making content that you enjoy. Check out my previous Skipper Summon video on Riding Shogun. And without further ado, let's begin. Chiori is a 5-star Geo Sword unit released fairly recently back in 4.5, and she's a rather unfortunate unit. I pulled Chiori, and even accidentally, but luckily, but not really in hindsight, pulled an early C1 for her. However, this video will be focusing mainly on C0 Chiori, as her C1 just gives her synergy in Navia and Noelle teams and a larger AoE radius. With that being said, let's discuss her kit. She focuses mainly on her elemental skill to do most of her damage, and when pressed, she'll zip forward and summon one Tamato Doll construct, and an additional one if there's already a construct present on the field. When this occurs, a QTE will appear on the screen and give Chiori two options: to either do nothing or press a normal attack to gain a Geo Infusion for 5 seconds, or press E again and immediately swap to the next character in the lineup and grant them a buff of sorts for 8 seconds that allows her dolls to deal extra damage up to twice when the swapped into character deals damage to enemies via normal, charged, and or plunged attacks. Her dolls will remain on the field for 17 seconds and cannot be destroyed. Her burst deals AoE Geo damage, and that's really it. It's not necessary to build ER for. Her damage primarily scales with attack and defense, leaning more into her defense scaling overall. Her constructs also gain a 20% geo damage bonus when there's another construct present on the field aside from her own. And that's the gist of her kit. Very straightforward and easy to pick up. With that being said, however, as you may have guessed by her kit description, Chiori at C0 really wants to be paired with another Geo character, specifically one that creates constructs in order to maximize her value in a team. With that being said, the only Geo units that create a construct are Ito, whose new best in slot team with Shilonen doesn't include her, Albedo, the very unit she power crept, so that's not going to get you very far obviously, Geo Traveler, which, let's be real, Ningguang, and then Zhongli, her best teammate in most cases, as a double Geo core since he provides a construct along with his other defensive and passive utilities, which allows you to slot in 2 more damage dealers pretty flexibly. This is because Geo doesn't often interfere with reactions outside of gauge related scenarios, but for the most part you'll be fine. I found this to genuinely be her best use case at C0, even to present day, seeing as the other options either don't want her anymore, in the case of Ito, who, to set the record straight, she is great for. The two work together fabulously. It's just that Shilonen kicked her out of her intended team, which is a shame. Or the other options just aren't strong enough to make significant contributions to the team on her behalf, in the case of someone like Albedo or Ningguang, since Chiori's own value comes from pure off-field damage that needs to be enabled, and it's not going to carry the team. Even worse, despite having an alternate playstyle as a carry with her Geo Infusion, it's laughably bad with only 5 seconds of uptime and almost no damage until C6. And even worse, her infusion gets overridden by the likes of a C6 Bennett, who'd be a crazy valuable teammate for her on-field playstyle. If you're a Xianyun haver that finally C6'd your Bennett like me, congratulations, you can't use the two together. And to be fair, people avoided C6ing their Bennett intentionally to avoid having these kinds of issues, and to avoid ruining him in physical teams. However, every single infusion-based 5-star we've gotten since Ayaka maintains their infusion despite his presence. I went and checked, even El Haytham keeps his Dendro infusion, and okay. So it was generally assumed that It would only ruin physical teams since infusion units didn't get overridden anymore, or so we thought. Her C1 gives her synergy in Navia and Noelle teams, but they've both received a new best in slot in the form of Shilinin, so it doesn't matter too much anymore. And even worse for Chiori, her banner is right alongside Shilinin, the new best support we've gotten since Farina, who also happens to be Geo as well. The main thing that screws Chiori over is, as mentioned before, all of her value lies in doing damage and nothing but. No buffs, no augmentations, just damage. While Shilinin won't even do a fraction of Chiori's damage, she buffs your other teammates so significantly that it just blows Chiori's damage out of the water, while also healing and thereby stacking Farina's fanfare, while also having access to the Scroll of Cinder City set. Try saying that 5 times fast. Scroll of Cinder City set, Scroll of Cinder City set, Scroll of Cinder City set. Maybe it's not that bad. But anyways, Chiori can't even begin to replicate any of that outside of a 4-piece Archaic Petra set, which still pales heavily in comparison to Shilinen's buffs. With that being said, should you skip or summon Chiori? If it wasn't obvious enough already, I'd honestly say that this is one of the easiest skips since maybe Siegewin, but even Siegewin has some meta-relevant use cases to this day. As of now, Chiori's best use case is alongside Zhongli with like Bennett Arlecchino or like insert your carry and support / enabler here type teams, which can certainly work. I personally enjoy using Chiori as a last slot in my Nouvellette team sometimes since she's very efficient and easy to use. You just swap to her, burst if you can, don't if you can't, it won't matter. Press E twice and go to town with the next character. That's it, and for that, she can be flexible in that she doesn't take too much field time, works from off field, and does pretty decent damage in the right scenarios. It's just that the payoff in comparison to a unit like Shilinin right beside her just ruins literally any chances she had at being a decent pull this patch. So to clarify, and finalize to a degree, skip Chiori and pull Shilinin, or save for Mavwika. Those two will do tenfold for your account what Chiori would do, even for Ito and Navia, her main teammates at C0 and C1 respectively. However, if you like her design, personality, and overall vibe like I personally do, then you can pull her like I originally did, and you can make her work, even if only with Zhongli or worst case scenario, Geo Traveler, and depending on how invested the other half of your team is, for example in a Nouvellette or Arlecchino team, they can carry the bulk of the damage and you can still clear just fine. It's just that when it comes to current value and even future value, Shilinin looks to be the more optimal choice for your account in 5.1, so Chiori's an easy skip. And that concludes my thoughts on this matter. If you enjoy content like this, once again, check out my previous skip or summon video on Raiden Shogun, like and subscribe so I know to continue making content that you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.